Well, good morning. Thank you for being here. If you're going to catch us on the replay, we thank you for that. Remember to give us a thumbs up, share us out, and subscribe if you would. Costs no money to subscribe, by the way. Thank you for being here. As I said, we're going to wait a few minutes and let people get in today before we get started. Seems to be a lot of things happening in my neighborhood today. A lot of trucks going on. I need to go outside here in a little bit and figure out what's going on. We kind of live in a I don't know, back of a neighborhood. So there's not a lot of traffic here, but this morning we've had a lot of traffic. Maybe somebody's moving, I don't know. Are you moving? Do you want to move? Thank you for being here, as I said. You guys got any big plans for your Friday? It is Friday here. It is 10-ish in the morning. It's already in the 90s here, so it's going to be a warm day. But that's okay. We can deal with the warm day, right? We're lucky enough to have air conditioning, so we're happy. We will deal with a warm day. I don't know what I'm doing today. To be honest, we're gonna, as always, get into our book and talk about some things. But I think I got a security camera that I need to relocate. If it's not too hot, I'm gonna try to do that because it's losing signal from where we're at, and I think it's just too far away from the router thing or the whatever that's called. So I might have to find a new location for it, is what I'm thinking about. And then we should have, I ordered some new shoes. So those shoes should be coming in pretty soon, today, hopefully. So some no more new Skechers, because I love Skechers brand. I wish they would sponsor me, that'd be really nice, because all I have is Skechers. But I ordered some new sandals for the beach type of Skechers shoes, arch fits, which I like. So I'm excited getting them to come in today. I really am. And then tomorrow we got a busy day. We're going to be going to a birthday party. And it's a kid's birthday party, and I probably won't like it or enjoy it. So I may wind up trying to find a business, like a restaurant or something, next to the Chuck E. Cheese, that maybe I can go in and just do a live stream or something, because I don't want to live stream inside of Chuck E. Cheese. Sir says, hello, good to see you. How are you? Thank you for being here. I hope you're doing wonderful this afternoon, evening in your part of the world. Joseph says, hi. Thank you all for the thumbs up. Do you guys have a lot of worries? Do you guys stress a lot? So we're going to go to a birthday party tomorrow. My wife is dragging me. You like the hat? Thank you. Appreciate that. I try hard to pick hats that go with my outfit for the day. I try to color coordinate because, you're never too old to have some style and profile. And you're never too young to care about how you dress. How you dress says a whole lot more about you than you can imagine. First impressions are hard. They're going good. You like the chain? Oh, you mean my necklace? Yeah, I got this in the Philippines from an artist who handcrafted these out of buffalo horns, water buffalo horns. But we're doing pretty good. Lil, I call you just dude. Dude says he likes the hat. Thank you for reading, man. That's good. I like hats. I got about 30 or 40 hats. I need more hats. But I got hats, I wear tropical shirts, as you probably figured out, and try to color coordinate, all that good stuff. It's important. It's also important to kind of wear the right watch for your outfits if you're into wearing watches. So just kind of accessorize with taste. Here's the funny thing about this hat, and I'll tell you, I got this hat off of Amazon, and maybe I'll tag it in my videos because everybody asks me about it. I got this hat off of Amazon, it and a tan one identical to it for like 20 bucks. These are just really cheap, straw, artificial, no brand hats. So very cheap. I have some very expensive hats, but these are not. These came up from Amazon. They're like 20 bucks for two. Really good little hats. Who made the picture in the back? I did. That's mine. I know the lettering's reversed, but that says Adventures of the Philippine American Couple, which is us. But yeah, that's, I did. I made that. I had a subscriber send me a $75 gift card to a place that makes these online, and because they thought we could use it. And so I took that money and I designed this, but they paid for it. So I can't think of the name of the people that paid for it, but they did. So it's on the wall. And then we have our other background here that I use a lot. I sit in front of this one a lot. And then, of course, we travel and we sit outside a lot. Well, what I did is, it's a picture. So that's a real picture, and you can't see her, my wife and I, on a cruise ship. It's a real picture. And the video editing software allowed me to turn it into that image. So I didn't draw that. It's a picture that's been altered by the computer. And then I just uploaded it, so. But we have that picture in color in real life. So, and I think that was taken in Aruba. Thank you all for giving us a thumbs up, for stopping in and saying hi and giving us a thumbs up. Oh, I forgot I had to message Patrick. Let me send a quick message to one of our people that really like to know that when we hear live, he likes to know. So how are you guys doing? That's the real question. There we go. Gaming in the house. Galactic Gaming, my friend. How are you? How are you, buddy? What's going on in your part of the world? Everybody go like and subscribe to Galactic Gaming. Hey, Galactic, Rob, I got a question for you. So what do you think about the shirt? You think it needs one more button? You think I ought to go one more button? Or should I show some chest hairs for all the girls? You think the girls would like this, or does it look better like this? You tell me, Rob. Not a lot, man. We're just busy. We're gonna be working through, what I do in the mornings. My live streams in the mornings. I do evening ones. I'm taking this book along with many others that I'm rereading from the 90s. This is called How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie. It basically helps us deal with worry and stress. You guys can click on the link and buy them if you want. They're real cheap. They're really good. And the main key of this, remember, there is no one else on earth like you. I better do that. Put my phone on Do Not Disturb real quick. There we go. Wow, doing good? You're planning your next trip, maybe Barcelona, nice. Or the EPT. I think one button undone looks better. So this. Yeah, I look okay. Is that what you're saying? I look cool? All right. I appreciate that, man. We're going to continue, so what I've been doing, just for your, it looks so great. Thank you. I like gravy. Plus, I'm trying to attract the women folk. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get the women folk to come in and go, ooh. Because if I get enough women folk, maybe I can start an OnlyFans page. So that's what I'm trying to do. I don't know if I'll have very much luck with that, but that's what I'm trying to do. But every morning I like to get up and read. I'm rereading books that I read from the 90s, and I'm trying to take these old business strategies that made people filthy rich in the past, And I'm trying to incorporate those into our modern day social media world. Joseph says, bro, he's right. He's getting all the women folk. I wish, you know, it'd be nice. I would take advantage of them. I am not I am not ashamed to admit that if I was good looking and handsome and charming and I could manipulate people into giving me money, I would probably do it. You know, if I could be like some of these girls on YouTube and TikTok and get people suckered into giving me money in hopes of seeing more of my flesh, I would do it. I'm not that good of a person not to. And I don't blame any of them for doing it. If like I said, if I could do it, I would be doing the exact same things they would be doing. Because money, money, money. I have no problem with it. But nobody's asked. Nobody's wanting to give me money, you know, to look at me. So there you go. But we do try to raise money to buy a house for my wife, is what I'm trying to do. So here's what we're going to talk about today, as my reading for today was all about trivial things. So worrying about things that haven't happened yet. And that's something I do. I'm a worrier about things that haven't happened yet. I really do. And I think about them, I dig deep in them, I come up with multiple scenarios that could go wrong or problems and issues with it. I do this, and it's a really, really bad habit because things that haven't happened, you can't worry about. And then we'll talk about this and give you an example. Let me get over to my example. And how many of you guys do that? How many of you guys sit there and worry about something that hasn't happened? All the what ifs in life. I'm really bad about the what ifs. What if this happened? What if that happened? Oh my gosh. What if, you know, my YouTube channel sucks? What if my TikTok sucks? What if Joseph hates me? You know, what if Galactic Gaming takes all the women for himself and I don't get any fans, you know? What if, you know? What if my car breaks down while I'm driving down the road? All of these things, you know, a lot of us worry about it. I think this is a common thread between people. I don't know, but I think it's a common thread. So I'll give you a little bit, I'll read you some text that you might find some interesting. Let's see, I want to write that story or this story. There's two stories. So here's an interesting thing, and I've actually watched these documentaries and a bunch of movies on Admiral Byrd. You know who that is, right? He explored the North Pole, or was it the South Pole? It doesn't matter. One of the poles. Admiral Byrd discovered down in the terrible cold and darknesses of the polar nights that his men fussed more about the pains and the neck issues than about the big things like being stuck in the ice, not having enough food, and dying. They would focus on the trivial things. They bore without complaining the dangers of the hardships. They didn't complain about being stuck and 22 negative degrees weather. They didn't complain about those things. What do you say? Oh, yeah. But Admiral Byrd says, you know, we had bunkmates who quit speaking to each other because they thought the other person was trying to take a little bit of their space. You know, imagine this. You're stuck in the polar cap. You're freezing, starving. You don't know when you're ever getting out. Life is miserable. But you're more worried about your neighbor taking over a little bit of your space. I knew, he goes on to say, I knew one of these who could not eat unless he could find a place in the mess hall out of sight of Smith, who chewed his food 28 times before swallowing it. So there's a guy on the ship who chewed his food very well. Another guy couldn't stand that. And so he got so upset about that and so disturbed that this guy had a practice of chewing his food 28 times, he wouldn't sit next to him. Now I can understand that for me, it's chewing like a cow, chewing with an open mouth. I hate that. And food in your mouth, I can't stand it. So I get that. Bird was saying, in the polar camp, little things like that have the power to drive even disciplined men to the edge of insanity. So little things that get under our skin that we allow, let me say this, we allow those things to get under our skin. Thank you all for being here. Please give us some thumbs up, you guys in the background. If you're new, subscribe to the channel. Don't let the little things that you're worrying about, that you can worry about, what color hat I'm gonna wear today, whatever may, the little trivial things, don't let them get under your skin. If they get under your skin, they can lead to insanity. They can lead to your failure in social media. Keith says, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here, Keith. We appreciate you. We got 240,000 people watching, so you guys give us a bunch of thumbs up. If you're here for the naked girls will be out in a few minutes. But understand that the little trivial things, we can make mountains out of molehills, as they say. It can drive us to failure. Another example of this is a marital judge talked about after acting as an arbitrator in more than 40,000 unhappy marriages, declared that the trivial things, Keith, I hope you're doing great and hope your channel is growing. Is your channel growing, Keith? Are at the bottom of the most meritable unhappiness. Little trivial things. He doesn't take out the garbage when I think he should. She wears too much makeup. I don't like her perfume. Trivial things in a marriage can end a marriage, can end a partnership, a relationship of any kind. If you let those trivial things get under your skin, and please understand, you're the one who's letting trivial things get under your skin. So many people would worry about like dinner parties. Maybe the place setting was wrong. And that would get them so worked up for the day that they would feel like their dinner party was ruined. Their birthday party was run because I asked everybody to wear purple and somebody came in blue. And I get all upset and bent out of shape because Galactic Gaming is wearing blue and when I said purple. And that just ruined my whole entire birthday party. Those type of things are trivial in the big scope of things. If I'm on social media and people are criticizing me, that's trivial. It is. Somebody doesn't like the video I'm making, that's trivial. Okay? Well, hello to you too. E9E. About all I can come with. We appreciate you. Good morning to you. How are you? Thank you for the thumbs up. So what are the trivial things that get under your skin? How much are you hanging on to those? Do they control what I want you to think about? What controls my life? Or what will make me have a really bad day? Is it there's no rice in the house? Well, you got to go get more rice. I mean, it's a bummer, right? But what is it? I got to take time out to go put gas in the car. Well, I had to go take, right? I want you to evaluate this. I want you to do a better job evaluating all of this. I want you to take it to heart and think about it. Then I want you to apply that to all of your social media platforms. Whether you are a content creator or just somebody who goes and views and watches people, supporters. Because even supporters on the social media side, they get bent out of shape. They have little trivial things that get under their skin. So understand that, and that can help you relax, enjoy your day. Don't let people derail your life by stupid little trivial things. Why would you let little things take your happiness away? Don't let them. Don't let them, don't let it take your happiness away. Much of the time, all we need to overcome the annoyance of trivial little things is to effect a shifting of emphasis and set up a new and pleasurable point of view of the mind. You guys understand that? If we have things that are driving us a little crazy, trivial things, all we need to do to overcome those little trivial crap is to shift the emphasis, what we're looking at, what we're thinking about, to something pleasurable. Let's use the analogy, oh crap, I gotta stop and get gas before I go to this birthday party. Well, man, I don't wanna do that, but I gotta get gas, right? So I'm all pissed off and irritated that I gotta go get in line and put gas in the car. What I need to be thinking is, I'm going to the birthday party. I need to be focusing, shift your focus onto the pleasurable. There's going to be a lot of good looking girls at the birthday party. There's going to be cake and ice cream and lumpia and tacos and all kinds of good stuff to eat at the birthday party. So we're shifting our focus away from the trivial. I went with some friends here's something I want you to know. I went with some friends on a camping expedition. While listening to the limbs of crackling and roaring fires, I thought how much they sounded like a crackling of the radiator. This guy had a radiator in his business office that made a crackling noise, and it was driving him crazy, right? Irritating me, just couldn't stand it. And what it was the oil popping inside the radiator. That's the crackling noise inside radiators. Drove him crazy. He fixated on it so much that it took away his focus on the business. But he went camping with some friends. And he sat there listening to the fire and thought, wow, this campfire, which is so beautiful, so calming, and so peaceful, sounds just like my radiator back in my office. Why would I like one crackling fire versus not the other? Why are we letting the radiator drive us crazy when we enjoy the fire? So once we become aware and conscious of the thing that's bothering us, the thing that's irritating us, the crackling radiator, the noise the radiator is making, once we understand that's what's annoying us, once you recognize that, then you'll learn to live with it. And so with many petty worries, we dislike them and get into a stew, all because we exaggerate their importance. So in his business setting, he's got a radiator that's making noise. He's allowing himself to go crazy over the noise of this radiator. He's allowing himself to put so much importance on a noise in his office that it's distracting him from being successful, right? And so let's think about that from a social media concept. How do we incorporate that into our modern day life? What are the things that are trivial annoyances that you're giving too much attention to? What is it? What is it that you're giving too much attention to that does not deserve that attention? I'll tell you about trolls. So many of you content creators give the trolls way too much attention. Way too much attention. You let them get into your heads. You let them control your live streams. You get butthurt. You get defensive. You go, you guys fight with these trolls or you fight with these other channels. Chef, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. So a lot of you guys, you love the book. Thank you. Thank you. We're going through all of them, the whole series again. I did them in the 90s as a young professional. And I bought them for my wife to read, but that didn't work. So I'm going to reread them every morning. So, but thank you for that. I appreciate the encouragement. So, what are we doing that we're allowing to control ourselves? What is it? Because we give things too much importance. Hello to the chat. Thank you for doing that. And we all do this. We all find little things that get under our skin and we blow it up and make it much bigger deal. Oh, getting gas before the birthday party. It's not that big, right? The crackling of the radiator. So he learned after being out in the campgrounds, listening to the cracking fire, and he enjoyed that. He learned and understood that the noise that his radiator made really wasn't that big of a deal. Wasn't that big of a deal. I have these issues, and it depends on how much weight we give things, right? As for instance, at our house, every spring, we have a bird that wants to nest under my porch. And I don't want the bird to nest under my porch. I want it to nest somewhere else. So me and that bird, we have a fight. We have a come to Jesus meeting about living under my porch. And I win, but my wife thinks it's funny because I take it so serious. And it's just a bird trying to live under there, right? Just a bird. But it's funny. It's trivial. How much weight do I give that to? Thank you, Chef. We appreciate that. We do. We do. So do we exaggerate the importance of things like bad comments? I don't care. See, trolls have no importance to me. Instead of them being a negative importance on our social media, and I teach you guys this, and I've taught I'm glad that so many of you have learned how to deal with trolls better from what I kind of teach. And my philosophy is you take advantage of trolls. You milk them for everything you can get out of them. And I do. I like to milk them, play a line. As long as they're not saying anything nasty or dirty or anything about kids or anything about race, I will allow them to troll me. You know why? Because everybody that chats, leaves a comment, makes my channel look better. Every comment they make, even if it's stupid about would you like to be ran over by a steamroller, right? Because we know what mathematics does. He's just an idiot. So we take advantage of these people. We encourage them to leave comments. You want to engage with them and get your followers to engage. And then when they cross the line, you delete them then, right? So that's the plan. Take a negative and turn it into a positive. Where don't worry and fret and blow it up to be bigger it is easily resolved by turning it into something positive. And then the trolls, like mathematics, goes away. They give up and go away. They just do. They quit because they didn't get the response. It's kind of like the old adage, you can only be bullied if you allow yourself to be bullied, meaning you can stand up for yourself or remove yourself from the situation. Somebody can't bully you if you're not there. They'll just move on to somebody else. If they're not getting that reaction, because I call trolls keyboard warriors. When your keyboard warrior doesn't get their reaction that they're looking for, then they go away and they go find another channel and try to do their trolling keyboard warriorness on another channel. That's what happens. Remember, life is too short to be little or petty. Let's not be little ourselves. Let's not lower our standards. Let's not lower ourselves to their level, anybody's level. You want to rise above the garbage. Don't come down to the garbage, rise above the garbage. Trolls are garbage. So we rise above them is what we do. That's what we do in our strategies. Life is too short to be little. Those words was printed in This Week magazine have helped me through many painful experiences. Often we allow ourselves to get upset by small things that only that we should despise and forget. Here we are on this earth with only a few more decades to live, and we lose many of our hours brooding over and grievousing in your time. We spend too much time of our precious life. You know, some of us have been there. We've been to the afterlife. We've been dead. We know what it's like to be dead. We all only have so many days on earth. We only have so much time to spend with our family, our loved ones. We only have so much time to do social media. We only have so much time, period. Time is not infinite for us. It's just not. So why would you give of your precious time and energy to things that are so trivial, right? Why? Don't do that. I want us to practice doing that, understanding. I'm worrying about the bird making a nest under my thing, or I'm worried about getting gas, and that's going to take 2 or 3 hours and might give me stress for 2 or 3 hours before I go to the birthday party, which is enjoyable, right? I wasted 2 or 3 of my hours being all pissy and negative because of the gas. You know, the bird thing kind of become a funny thing, you know, but it's still a thing. I could let it nest there and it wouldn't hurt anything. I would just clean it up afterwards, but it's about the territory. I own it. You're not going to live there. Another thing I want you guys to understand, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, he lost his own head and swore out a warrant. So I'm gonna read you this part because this is a pretty good story. Let me tell you a little bit about this. You can have 2 gentlemen, 2 ladies, 2 anything, anybody working together in a positive way. And then there's a story out here about a guy that owned a land and his brother-in-law bought some land next to it. And they both owned that land, right? And so the original owner, John, he wanted to use the land to bale hay. Well, the brother-in-law decided he wanted to plant roses on the land. Therefore, John, the landowner, couldn't bale hay on it. So that pissed John off tremendously. So much so that one day driving down the road, he saw the brother-in-law riding a bicycle. So he swerved and knocked him off of the road. Started a whole legal battle, a whole fight, and all over this. And so finally, the brother-in-law and the wife packed up their bags and moved to another country to get away from this negative situation. So they allowed the fact of a little bit of hay that was not a primary source of income get in the way of the relationship, friendship. It took them down to court. It took them to jail. It took them to the lawyers, spending thousands upon thousands of dollars fighting these cases with each other. It's kind of like the Hatfields and McCoys, if you ever heard of them. Nobody knows back in the day what exactly pissed off one of the Hatfields or one of the McCoys. Started one of the longest running feuds in the United States. Good morning, everybody. Running late. Kid is in the house. Thank you for being here. So a lot of times we let something extremely trivial blow up. We do. We make it so powerful that it controls us, and it will lead us down a dark path. Here's a little bit of a quote. Come, gentlemen, as we sit too long in our trivial pursuits. We do indeed. Come, gentlemen, as we sit too long in our trivial pursuits. We do it indeed. So we hang on to things way too long. Things that are trivial, we just hang on to them way too long. So our big takeaway from this section is we don't want to allow ourselves to be controlled, to be upset, to be manipulated, to be managed, to be bullied, harassed, to give space in your head to trivial, small things. Remember, life is too short to lower yourself to those standards, meaning you are better than that. Rise above your raisin, so to speak. Be the hero of your family. Be the hero of your world. Be the hero of social media. We don't have to lower ourselves in social media to be successful like that idiot guy named Bob the Builder, I think his name was, who kept trying to fight with black people to get them mad, and he would video it, and because he's a racist white guy, and then finally somebody bucked up against him, and the white guy, the idiot from YouTube, pulled out a gun, and shots were fired. And now Bob the Builder, the idiot, racist white guy, is sitting in jail pending attempted murder charges. So, because he finally got what he wanted, and he point blankly claimed on all of his videos, hey, I want to fight with these people because I want to shoot and kill one of them in self-defense. His goal was to piss people off so that he could shoot one of them eventually and claim self-defense. Well, it didn't work out. We got to think about this. We got to rise above crap like that on the internet. That crap, I don't know. And here's the funny thing is, social media, it has so many rules and they're so strict about things. You can't cuss. You can't say certain words. I say them because I'm a small channel and nobody cares. But you can't say words like gun and murder, suicide, death. You got to be careful about those weird words, right? But yet, social media will allow him to go around and talk about and argue and call black people bad names, the N-word and other names, to try to piss them off so they will want to fight him so he can pull out a gun and shoot them in self-defense. But yeah, we're not allowed to say the word gun, right? So that's a big issue. But we want to rise above that. We want to do better. We want to be true to who we are. We all want to grow our channels if you're into social media. We all want a bigger platform. We just have to, and this is what I wrestle with. You have to do it, in an honorable format, not stealing from other channels. You can get inspiration from other channels, but we don't want to steal from other channels. We don't want to just directly copy other channels, right? Because that's not wrong. All these ones who take somebody else's video and put their head on top of it and talk about what happened, those irritate me because all they're doing is replaying somebody else's content in the background while they sit in front of it. So I want to encourage you guys all to be organic, earnest, in growing your own platform. Because if you get to it negatively, and here's my big point about this. When Bob the Builder, for instance, he gained a great big audience and made a lot of money doing his negative crap. He did bad. So negative equals negative, right? That's what I keep telling you in life. So Builder Bob, or whatever the hell his name was, went negative. Well, now he's sitting in jail. The people like Smelly Grandpa, he attacked people all the time on the internet. Well, he's out of there. Negative channels blow up and die. That's what happens. These girl channels that just pop up because they're a sexy looking girl and they're all over the internet, they're not going to last very long. And it's usually a pathway to a different location. Rise above, be a hero, and do things the right way. That's what I encourage you to do. The other big thing that we need to understand about worrying is things that haven't happened yet. Like I said, I worry a lot about where we're going to move in Florida or Alabama. I haven't got there yet, but I'm worried about it. I stress about it. I think about it. I study. I research. I say I'm just doing my due diligence, right, is my BS to myself. Survivors in the house. Hello, sir. Good to see you, my friend. How are you? Everybody said hello to Survivor. Great channel, by the way. You got a great channel. I watched some of your stuff the other day. And we can worry about the weather. You know, if you're a farmer, you need to keep an eye on your weather. But if the lightning hasn't happened yet, if the tornado's not here yet, what is worrying going to do for you? If you're worried about being trolled on the internet, if you're worried about people hating you, why? It hasn't happened yet. You can't do anything about it now. If you're true to yourself and build content that you want to build and you're not ripping people off and shitting on people and doing all those negative things, you just keep building. When something does happen, then you can deal with it because we can't deal with the thing that's way out here. I can't do it. Remember, we can't solve problems that we can't put in our hand. Worry is the same way. We can't fix a worry, work on a worry that's not in our hand. If the train hasn't derailed yet, we can't worry about it. We just can't. If my car has not broke down yet, I can't worry about it until it breaks down. And then I'll worry about it and I'll stress about it and figure out what to do, right? I think that's a very important thing for us to understand. And I'm going to give you some funny example, or not funny, but I don't know, kind of funny to me because I think insurance companies are kind of like a racket. I think insurance companies are not honorable businesses. I don't believe that. I have to use them. I do. But that doesn't mean I think it's a one. I don't know. I think it's a gigantic financial racket. Insurance companies. But here's something that comes from the largest insurance company in the world. The most famous insurance company in the world is Lloyd's of London. Has made countless millions of dollars out of the tendency of everybody to worry about things that hasn't happened or rarely happens. Lloyd's of London bets people that the disasters they are worried about will never occur. And Kansas insurance companies are the biggest scam. They are. I'm telling you. It's not right. And they got so many ways to rip us off, to not cover what they say they're going to cover. I saw a poor thing in Florida. There's a couple in Florida who apparently they went to Georgia for the summer because it's hot in Florida, so they went to Georgia. Their son would go by their house and check it. It's a nice house. I saw it. They built it in the country of Florida. And apparently they had a toilet that malfunctioned. And it's a big 2-story house. And it flooded the entire house, destroyed the house. And then, of course, the mold came in and destroyed everything on top. The insurance company would only give him $10,000. And what this lady was saying, you know, one, they didn't know that rider had changed. Nobody had told them in their policy that for water damage, their insurance company was now only going to give them $10,000 for water damage. But here's what's really bad. They just paid their insurance bill on the house that they had paid off, because it's paid off, of $4,800 for the year. Their insurance is $4,800 for the year. Now the insurance company only wants to give them $10,000 for the damage. And they've been with this insurance company for 30 years. Horrible. Lloyd's of London bets people that the disasters that they are worried about would never occur. However, they don't call it betting. They call it insurance. You know, it sounds like something the mafia would do, right? You know, it really does. It seems like something organized crime would do. But it's really betting based on the law of averages. The great insurance firm has been going strong for 200 years, and unless human nature changes, it will still be going strong 50 centuries from now by insuring shoes and ships and sealing wax against disasters. By the law of averages, doesn't happen nearly as often people imagine. Our fears don't come true. Fears don't come true. Now, they do come true. Florida frets over hurricanes. They should. Our insurance, look, I've owned houses for 30 years. How old am I? 30 years. I've only had one insurance claim, and that was in this house this new house that we had built because we had a broken water pipe. Only one claim in 30 years. But all that insurance money I paid on these different houses, right? The law of averages. And now I'm paying for it. So in my insurance claim, let me just tell you, not only did I pay my $1,000 deductible, now my insurance has gone up for 5 years, $800 a year. So so right there is $1,800 out of my pocket, and I'm going to pay an extra $800 for 5 more years, or 4 more years after this year. Crazy. Mathematics is back doing his troll thing. You guys all say, hello, Troll Mathematics. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Make sure you leave a lot of comments. Now remember, if you say anything bad, they're going to put you in timeout. But say some good things. Give us a lot of good comments. YouTube will, and then if you want to donate some money, that'd be really good. Also, you can hit the little heart button and stuff as a troll. You can do that a lot. Trolls are getting into hitting those little buttons a lot. So that would be a good thing for you to do as a keyboard warrior. All right. If we examine the law of averages, we will often be astounded by the facts we uncover. For example, if I knew that during the next 5 years I would have to fight in a battle of bloody as the Gettysburg, I would be terrified. I would take it out all of my life insurance I could get. I would draw up my will and set all of my early affairs in order. I would say, probably never lived through the battle. So I had better be prepared. I better be prepared and make the best of the few years that I have. Survivors, thank you for saying hello to Ken. Good to see you, Ken and Survivor. Yet the facts are, according to the law of averages, it's just as dangerous, just as fatal to try to live from the age of 50 to 55 in peacetime as it was to fight in the war. I'm trying to say this, in times of peace, just as many people die per thousands between the ages of 50 and 55 as were killed among the 163,000 soldiers who fought in Gettysburg. Law of averages. And we can look at those numbers like you can be. What does the law of averages tell us about what we're worrying and stressing about? The big message out of that, if you knew you were going to die in 5 years, there's a country song about that, right? Somebody's going to live like there's no tomorrow or something like that. I can't remember. They were going to go drink beer or something. I don't know what they were going to do. I can't remember the country song. So if you knew you were going to die in 5 years, what would you do? I know I'm going to die in less than 10. I do. So I really do. I know you guys think I'm crazy, which is okay. But there's a high probability that I won't make the next 10 years. And I understand that. And so I'm trying to enjoy this time with my wife, but I'm also worried, stressing, and working hard to make sure that my wife is taken care of when I kill over dead. And, she doesn't have a house payment. That's why I do a lot of YouTube stuff. That's why I do other stuff. Anything I can side hustle to make a few bucks to put into the fund to pay her house off, to buy her a house. Number one goal, because I know I won't live 10 years. But we're going on a cruise in October. We got other plans. We go to the Philippines and Singapore in 27. So we will keep going and doing as long as my body will allow me to go and do. So let's just kind of think about this in a broader perspective. Let's examine the record. Let's ask ourselves, what are the chances, according to the law of averages, that the event that we are worrying about will occur? What's the probability? What's the likelihood that what you're worrying about today is actually going to happen? And let me go on and say this. Is it a big deal? Hello, Patrick. Good to see you, my friend. Is it a big deal? What's the worst outcome? sometimes, and there's a couple of different things I'll tell you. Patrick says hello again. Good to see you too. Good morning. We let these things control us, but the law of averages tell us likelihood it's not going to happen. What's the likelihood? Has it ever happened to you before? How many times does it happen? Think about that. Oh my God, I am so worried about trolls. Well, how many trolls do you get? You don't get 1,000 a day. You get one every once in a while. So what are the laws of averages? Why are all these people here? Our neighborhood, maybe somebody's having a garage sale. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe somebody's having a garage sale because it looks like there's cars everywhere coming and going. Maybe it's a garage sale. All right, never mind. But it's raining here. Oh, nice. We need some rain. Man, we had some cool winds last night, but we need rain. So what I'll tell you is how bad it can be if that worry comes through. If you haven't paid your car and you're worried about your car being repossessed because you don't have the money to pay it, what's the worst that can happen? You work that out through yourself. Well, what if you got to start over? What if you lose everything due to medical bills? Your house is foreclosed upon, you lose your cars, you start over. And sometimes what I tell people is when doors close, doors open. Those things, when they do happen, when and if they do happen. Now, I do believe we should do everything we can to prevent them. I really do. If we can foresee things and we want to, I'll just give you an example of, I don't know, medical bills pounding up so much that I got to give up my house, that I got to sell my house. Okay? So I can foresee this and I have to make the decision. Do I fight to keep the house and turn off all the utilities and internet and buy no food just so that I can keep this house? Or do I go, I have to accept what's going to happen and then get rid of the house? I walk away, hopefully saving and getting in a little bit of money, and then I can move on to the next chapter of my life. Those things you can do. You can take a worry into a positive. Not everything that's on your plate that's a gigantic worry is a negative. You can turn that into a positive. Remember that. Turn that in like trolls. Like we talk about trolls, right? You take a troll, you turn them into a positive on your channel, then they go away and run away. But you make fun of them. You enjoy them. As long as they don't say bad things, you're taking that negative and turning it into positive. That's my motivation to you guys, not only in your personal lives, but in social media. If people don't like something, you can study it, understand it, use it, and turn it into something else. No, Patrick, I haven't seen Mean in a while. I seen Mean a couple of days ago. Have you talked to him? No, not very much. I don't know. I know he's over in Europe. He was on one of the live streams a while back. No, but not really. I haven't seen him. So, ain't that right, Chef? Chef has a great channel, by the way. What do you guys think about problems and worry? And is there anything that you worry about that I can help you with? That's the question, because I don't mind. I am here to be your internet life coach, death coach. He is in Mike's live stream. All right, well, that's good. Meme likes to be a troll. I mean, Meme's a good guy, but I know him personally. But he also likes to troll. And, I wonder how he did in Mike's live stream. So, law of averages, Ken? No, that's good. I appreciate that. We've all been through these things, and I just try to pull from my own personal experiences in my own life choices and decisions that we have to make. And I believe that you got to trust yourself, but I believe that you got to step out of it and don't give the worry so much power over you. When we do this, I'm stressed over moving. We need to move. I want to move because I know my life in Arkansas is boring and I'm bored. I would like to move to Alabama or Florida. I worry a lot about living in Florida. I like to live in Florida, but I worry about the money and the weather. I worry, 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 worry. I'm not even living in Florida. Those damn hurricane that's hitting today, I'm not there, but I'm stressed over Florida. I'm watching the cities that it's hitting, you know. So I'm making a mountain out of a molehill. Um, well, we like Foley, Alabama. The only thing is, my wife, where is she going to work? She likes the thought of working around a bigger city because of the job opportunities. You know, Greenbow, Alabama. Yeah, where Forrest Gump is from. Run, Forrest, run. No, is there really a Greenbow, Alabama? Has anybody ever Googled that to see if there's a Greenbow, Alabama? We like the Gulf Coast. But anyway, so what are you guys worrying about? What can we work together to make anything you're doing? Yes, there is not. Oh, really? There's not a Greenbow, Alabama. It's a great name. I don't know why somebody didn't find a little community and call it Greenbow, Alabama. I would have. Like if I had a big neighborhood, I would have changed the sign to Greenbow in Alabama. But how can you, me, take these things that are worrying us and bring them down to a manageable size? Right? That's what we have to figure out to do. It's kind of like so Patrick, was Meme behaving on Mike's live stream? You know, because sometimes he can be a dickhead. Meme can be a dickhead. So Galactic Gaming's always a good guy. He's from Europe. He's one of the good guys. But Meme can be a little bit of a dickhead on a channel. So he tries to stir up shit sometimes. And he's done it on mine. Ken says, no, Green, Alabama is not a real place. It's a fictional town created for the 1994 film Forrest Gump. The original Winston Groom novel Forrest is, I believe it that it's not real. He was good in Mike's live. All right, good, good. Sometimes Mike's lives are a little difficult to watch, to be honest. So, you know, I'm not into music that much, and when some of the drinkers get on there, I just don't enjoy watching his channel. Sometimes I like watching and talking to him, but when it gets a little chaotic, I'm not a big fan of that. Ken's asking if Michael is live now. I doubt it. He's probably in bed. He's in Illinois. And he stays up during the night so he can talk to Venus. Glad to help. Yes. It's good to help. It's good to be helpful. Thank y'all for the thumbs up. So I got to be helpful today to myself. I don't know about what, but I got to be helpful to myself. You know, a lot of things going on in the world. Do we let them control us? How do we make better? And this is my big push. I'm trying to figure out how to do social media better. I would like to, if anybody would like to challenge, here's my thing to anybody and everybody. I would like to challenge somebody to do comparative videos. I would like, maybe Chef would like this. I think it'd be fun if you took somebody who's making like Pat, maybe Pat's making homemade chili or bread, and I try to duplicate his recipe, and we kind of compare the methodology or something. I don't know. I think there's ways that you can collaborate with content creators who are not next to you. It would be great. I would love to do a podcast. I have a setting where you could sit and do 2 chairs and microphones and do a podcast. But we don't have anybody around us to join the podcast. Lorelai is too busy with her work. So Lorelai and I really can't do it. Ken says, thank you for letting me know, Patrick. So what do you guys want to do to grow your social media world empire? Are you trying to do anything? Are you going to do the same old and hope that lightning hits? Or do you not want to do it at all? You know, there's a lot of, now one thing I'll say about this, I hear this, which is okay, but this is just the way humans are. A lot of people say, what will they find out how hard social media is? How difficult it is. They find out very quickly that people don't consider them a star, that people don't think that they're the greatest, that people aren't just flocking. When I come and do a live stream, it's shocking to me that we don't have 200,000 people watching me, because that's what should happen. Everybody should watch me, right? Everybody should come see me because, hell, I'm me, right? When that happens, people change their mind. And they say, no, I just do YouTube because I like friends. I want to meet people. I don't really want to grow. That's because they've ran into a roadblock or two, and that's preventing them. They've changed their ideology about it. I mentioned that last night and got crickets. You mentioned which part last night? I talked so fast, Ken. Which part did you mention? Aussie chick is great in the house. She's in Australia, beautiful young lady, hanging out in the Australia land. I have a great weekend. You're going to go to bed now? Yeah, it's past your bedtime. It's after, I know you stay up late. Everybody said hello to Aussie chick, and thank you for being here. So which part, Ken, did you say? Because, me, I talk so fast. Oh, how to improve and how to grow. You try to do that on your group don't want to do that, Ken. Your live stream is not anything about anything. Your live stream is about a few people that comes to your panel. Your live stream is all about them. It's what your live streams are. And you can tell that if you sit back and go back and watch some of your old live streams, you can tell that, I don't mean to be mean, and I'm not trying to be mean. I hope you don't take it that way. But a lot of times you're not driving the boat, and you get spoken over a lot. But, exactly, we are on the Seinfeld of YouTube. Yeah, kind of. Well, and I do think that's a good strategy. I just watched some more YouTube strategies the other day. And this Asian chick said that she looks at YouTube as television. And I'm trying, and I don't know what that means. She didn't explain what it means. But she kind of looks at her platform and what she does as television, and I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to think about, well, okay, if we were on television, what would we do? And how would we do it? Would we do it any different? Can we have a TV show that I do? Oh, you can rate to YT as a TV. It is, because so many people watch it nowadays. But you got to do things that hook us. You got to do things that make us want to come back, right? And, we've talked about this, lots and lots and lots. And that's the hardest thing, to get people to come back without hurting other people, without being a bully and a nasty person, or without alluding that you're going to show body parts. There are a lot of great channels that have figured out a niche. Technology is a great niche, but they also don't like a lot of facial time. Technology, which you better know your technology to do technology channels. Makeup, I don't do makeup channels, right? But those girl channels that do makeup and styling are popular. So there are genres that are very popular. But for middle-aged men like us, and what is it? I tell people, it's like our friend Keith who does trains. Well, there's a very, very small market for trains. Hey, Jimmy, hola, Jimmy's in the house. Hello, Jimmy, how's things going? Are you going to get any rain from all that weather hitting Florida there in Georgia? But I don't want us to lie to ourselves. That's the key. I'm trying to preach and get you guys in your life not to lie to yourself, not to lower your standard just to be popular or just to grow your social media content. Not stealing from others, not criticizing and tearing down other channels like I do, the girl channels. Ooh, here, yeah, Yeah, I do criticize them, but I tell them, and I believe that they have a right to do it. And like I said earlier, many of the times, if I looked like some of these girls and could make money, I would be doing it too. Don't get me wrong. I'm trying to attract the women now. All of you old guys, well, you're just old. Now we got to get the young girls to come in here and start seeing this, right? Yeah. Yeah, so we got to, right? We got to get the youngers. So treat life as Chad Spurley for leisure or entertainment. And David, you are one funny dude. Well, I try. Well, to be honest, I don't try. I just run my mouth. That's kind of the problem. I just kind of have a tendency to run my mouth. And I say what I want to say and I do what I want to do. But I encourage you guys to participate. One thing I hope you guys get from my stuff is I really do want all of you guys to be a part of this because I think it's more fun when we can have fun collectively versus that. So how do we make better entertainment? Because at our age, the way we all look, us men, I'm not a mechanic. I don't have a project car and I don't have a film crew. Sometimes my wife is really good to hold the camera for me and help me make videos like we're going to do one this weekend. But if you don't have people, an assistant all the time with you that can do angles and give more entertaining, it's kind of hard. It's a lot of work to try to make a video about changing a carburetor and show different angles and styles. You got to stop, refocus the camera, put the camera here, come over here, get the lighting right. It's hard to do those. Jimmy, let's see. Hello, Jimmy. Good to see you, Pat says. Hiya, Pat. What a slip. A slip? Oh, slip. Filipino nipple slip, Jimmy. Oh, sorry, Pat. I missed something. Sorry, Pat. Let me get up here. I'm sorry. I missed Pat's comment. I should have seen that one. Patrick says, I've seen a few nipple slips in the Filipino channels by accident. Don't know if they did it accidentally or on purpose. So, Patrick, you must be paying attention. Pat is a funny dude. Yeah. So, yes, Pat is like, ooh, nipple slipping Philippine. Nipple slipping. Ooh, maybe we should write a song. Nipple slipping Filipina. What you gonna do when the brown comes for you? Maybe we can write a song. Here, you want to see a nipple slip? I'll give you one. I'll give you a scar slip. Look at that. Is that where it is? Yeah. I don't know. Oh, accidentally showed you something. Huh? I don't know what they're doing, and but like I said, I'm okay with it. If I don't care what you got to do. If you need money and you can figure out how to do a side hustle to make money, more power to you. I can't take it away from you. Jimmy, Pat is a funny guy. The ladies love that brother. They do. That's what I'm trying, man. I'm trying to get the ladies. I mean, trying to get the lady. Aussie's was here, but she had to go to bed. I got her too excited. She had to go to bed. Yeah, that's the problem, Jerry. Jimmy, they don't really like the hairy ones, right? But some women like hairy chairs. I'm getting gray. Look at that. I'm starting to get old. But what are we doing? It's okay. But I would love to do podcasting. I think it'd be great if I had a way to do podcasting. Maybe how to do a split screen podcasting. Somebody, you can set that up. Maybe I'll work on that more because I would like to have people come in and we can do short podcasting. Maybe that would be a cool thing to do. I don't know. If you guys have any suggestions, let me know. Because I, unlike 20,000 other people who suck at YouTube like me, I'm not taking the road of going, oh, I'm not really here to grow. I just want to make friends. Now, I want to make friends, but I want to make money. I do. I'm happy that I know so many other people, and I've shared a lot of the free things that I've gotten over the years with our audience, which I think is really great. We all going to meet up in October, which is great. But look, if I strike gold and somebody gives me a big old super chat, goes to my PayPal account, or my channel blows up and I have 100,000 people and subscribers, and I have 20,000 people watching me on a regular basis, woo, yeah. Sorry, that's a good thing. But with me, Jimmy, all they're going to get is the hairy ones because that's just the way it is. But at least it's fat and hairy, it's plump. It's not little. I got, mine are plump. Lorelai says mine are bigger than hers. So hers are better though, trust me. But she says mine are bigger than hers. But I don't know. But Patrick, how much did you enjoy those live streams? Did you turn the live stream off immediately, Patrick? Did you go, oh no, no? Or did you go, oh no? Because that's what most people. Did you play it back to make sure that's what it was? But it was probably a Janet Jackson moment, right? The big thing in those I've seen and heard is the leg thing. Now they've learned to position themselves where it gives you an image that they're not wearing anything on their legs. So they give an image, or yeah, they're trying to provide an image of that. But Patrick likes to go to the girly channels, don't you, Patrick? So what do they do that I could do, Patrick? Let me ask you that. What could those channels do? What do those channels do that I don't do? Seriously, this is a question for everybody. When we think about the channels that are successful, or that are better than ours, let's just say they're more successful than ours, maybe not better, but they're more successful. They have more subscribers and views than we do individually. What is it they do that I do not do? Is it just because I'm not in the Philippines, so there's not chickens hauling in the background? Is that the problem? Is it, and we're just pointing on them, but you could pick out Mr. Beast and everybody else, all these other people. Because I'm not doing the hate channels. I'm not going to go out and pick on people. I'm not going to try to do that. I'm not going to. I don't mind filming in public. I do that and I like to do it. But I'm still conscious of people. I don't want to put little kids. I just don't want to do that stuff. I just try to do what we want to do out when we go into nature and things. I don't want to expose people that don't necessarily want to be exposed. Even the channels, forget the girls. But Pat, I want you guys to tell me, what do the girl channels do that I don't do? Now, the other big thing is the unboxing videos. We do a lot of product reviews just because I have nothing better to do. Like this weekend, we're making a product review of something I bought for Lorelai to help her with her online schooling. That'll give us a video, a topic to do, and I'll post that. But why don't they get 100 views? Why don't they get 2,000 views like some of these other product reviews? Why am I not getting those reviews? What am I doing, whether it's me personally or, YouTube and the algorithm says they like me. They say that I don't think they push me out. But what do they do that I don't? And that's my big question for all of us. Even if you want to be a good follower, what's a good follower? What's a good supporter? What's a bad supporter? I know everybody comes into different moods and different times and different things. Sometimes you're in a bad mood, I am, and sometimes you're in a crabby mood. And, I do think there's another thing. What's that? Jimmy says, I'll tell you that most of the Filipino contents don't have content. I agree. They're just doing live streaming, right? And a lot of them just sit there, or wiggle around or talk to their friends. I agree with you. And I do think maybe that's the way the future of the world is. You don't really need to build videos. You don't really need to do this because nobody watches them anyway. So what do I do them? I don't know why I do them. I do them because we have nothing better to do, I guess. Pat says I gained 598. Hopefully it will stick. It will. It will keep going up and down, up and down. And Patrick says, yeah, they do. Yes, yes. But apparently they don't need content, right? You know, it's a strange world we live in. It's a very strange world. I don't know. I don't know what to do. All I can do, just how long can you watch a pretty face with nothing interesting come out of her? Well, apparently, the way they're raking in the money for a long time. But Jimmy, here's what, you and I agree. I don't care. Even when I was single, I can't handle, and I hate to offend anybody, but there's a lot of people that I follow and I go to their live streams and I don't really enjoy their live streams because they're not discussing anything of relevance. There's nothing happening. I agree with you, but what they're doing is alluding to nudity. They're alluding to there's going to be more to come. When they roll over, they turn or twist, they're now trying to get you to stay because you don't know if you're going to get what Patrick got earlier, right? No, that's right. No slipping, no watching. That's right. So they're teasing these people with that, Can I do that? Oh, sorry, my shirt fell over. Oh, my goodness, this thing is so baggy on me. Look at it. Oh, look, it's see-through. See, oh, no, don't look at that. You know what I mean? That's kind of the deal. So they're alluding to that these people are going to get more. And people will give them money in Super Chat in hopes of doing that. And I've talked to some of these channels behind the scenes, believe it or not, because I go on their live stream and I'm nice and polite and I give them some advice, and they know that I'm not the normal dude on their channel. I don't stay long because it bores the shit out of me, but I tried to. I don't know. I guess in some thought I'm trying to get them to do better. So I've talked to some of them, and they make good money. They're making good money doing what they're doing. Good money. A few of those channels I watch, stay away from. They're all. Well, Pat, what do you do, Pat? Let me ask. This is a serious question. What do you consider a scammer? How are they scammers? Let's think about it this way. Am I a scammer because I would like for everybody to give me money so I can buy my wife a house? Would I be a scammer if I said that my grandma died for the 12th time this year? What is the scammer? Oh no, I had a phone call and had to pause down to catch up. Nice. Well, while you were paused, we talked about you a lot, Ken. I mean, we went after you, buddy. We talked No, we didn't do that. No, I wouldn't think so, brother. But what would you consider a scammer? That's what I'm asking. And I mean seriously to everybody. Because somebody can only, it's kind of like a bully. You can only be bullied if you allow to be bullied. You can only be taken advantage of if you allow yourself to be taken advantage of. And I've had a lot of channels. I haven't had so many in the last year. But I used to have a lot of these Philippine channels that would come on and ask us for money. Ask our channel for money. Because they would see our stuff and think we're rich compared to them. And sis, my mama died, and I know, I see you're from Cebu, I'm from Cebu, oh, we're so poor here, can you help us, And I would say no, sorry, but no thank you. And then they would get mad. You mother, you piece of shit, I'm at a block, I don't care. That's what I heard others say and all the others. Right, and I know people say that they're scamming channels. They are. I know people say that, but they're really not. And that's why I don't have a problem with it. I really don't have a problem with what they do, or what I do, or what anybody does. I have a problem with the white guy who tries to incite fights with the black guy so that he can pull out his gun and shoot him in self-defense. That I have a problem with, right? The ones that are rage baiting people, I have a problem with. But because they're doing it to hurt somebody else, intentionally hurt other people. I don't like that. I don't watch that content. I don't like it. I do like First Amendment auditors because I believe the First Amendment is extremely important. I think the Second Amendment is important. I like the police videos because I think policing in America is done wrong. I think America has a culture of policing by bullying. Their number one goal is to bully us. That's what law enforcement does. They bully. And I don't like that. I don't like how we do law enforcement in America. And I think it needs to change. And I think the, what do we call where they go? The police academies. The police academies are teaching things the wrong way for them. So those are bad channels. But a scam to me is, hey, I promise I'm going to send you an autographed tropical shirt if you send me $20. And I never send you the tropical shirt. A scam to me is if you order a hat from Temu and it comes in and it's this big and you thought it was a real hat, that's a scam. But to sit there and sell yourself on the internet, because I'm doing that, I'm trying to sell myself right now to the world. It's not working so well. Oh, there's a package coming to my house. Hope she doesn't ring the doorbell. Or the doorbell doesn't go off, because Lily will go crazy. Let her just drop it. It doesn't need to be signed for. It's my sandals. I'm going to do a video on my sandals later, separately. Is she looking for me? No, she left. All right. But selling yourself, is that really a scam? I don't think it is, Pat. And that's kind of my point about that. I would like to figure out a way to scam. Look, I'm a piece of shit. I would scam you if I could. I just don't know how to scam. I don't have it in me, I guess, to figure out a way to scam people. I've thought about it. I've tried. I've sat here at my desk with my pen and paper going, how in the hell can I scam people? I can't come up with a way. They're called nose hats. Oh, I like that. Little hats for your nose. That's pretty good, Jimmy. Maybe we could start a line of nose hats. I don't know. I mean, if I was a creative designer, I would design cool shirts, but I'm not. But I don't know how to scam people. I don't know. That's the bad thing. Plus, I'm lazy. Scamming people takes effort. So, Pat and everybody, I don't think the girls are scamming you because you know what you're getting. You can pay them more and get more in private, or you cannot, not nippy. Oh, nipple hats. No, yeah. Little nipple. Oh, that might be actually. You know how there's a trend now for them to wear fake ones, I guess, because I saw this. We get a lot of emails because we do a lot of product reviews. I get a lot of people wanting me to review their products. And I turn a lot of it down because it's just garbage. And I don't want to do it. But I had one the other day that wanted Lorelei to review these fake nipple patches, which I didn't know existed. I didn't know this. But apparently there's a fake nipples that girls wear on their YouTube channels or StreamYards or their TikToks to make it look like they have something so the guys will give them money. Now, I didn't know that happened. I didn't know that existed. But we can make hats for those. So, I don't know. And so, Patrick, and I understand why guys would say that, but I'm just telling you and all of us, man to man, realistically, if you think some girl who's selling herself is scamming you, then they're wrong. Their point of view is wrong, is my point, Pat. It really is. And as much as I think it's humorous, the channels that do that, I respect them for doing it. So I wouldn't call them scammers. I think that's disrespectful. They may be hustlers, and they may be digital prostitutes, they may be digital hookers, but at least you're paying for what you get. Try it. I'll super chat today. Oh, the nipple thing. Oh, we didn't get him in. I turned it down. No, Jimmy. We didn't get him in. I got a thing because that happens to me weekly. I get 4 or 5 offers. Hey, we'll give you this if you'll just review our product. I'm like, well, why in the hell would I want that? I don't want that. So that was one of them came across, and I just deleted it. But I'm like, what the hell is this? I didn't know that existed. And I don't know why they would think we needed it. I don't know. We don't do risque stuff. But if I had them, I would do it for you. I would, maybe it'd make me more money. Maybe I could be a trans YouTuber, right? A man who's, I don't know. But it's funny. It's funny. The other one we get offered a lot, which makes me mad. We get offers a lot for dog shock collars for a dog. We won't do those. I get one of those, 2 of those, yeah, one a week. Somebody wanting me to review their training collars for dogs. Nah, I'm not doing that. So there's a lot of things we don't deal with. We just don't. We just pass. You can use it on the cruise ship. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. With my upside down pineapple shirt. Maybe that's it. Oh, I don't know, Jimmy. But I'm serious because I know there's a big thing in the social media world about e-beggars. Well, and I've asked myself this, is e-begging wrong? Is e-begging bad, or the people that hate e-beggars just jealous that they may be making money? Are you, now if you're lying, now that's a scam. If somebody's saying I need money for my dead grandma, my grandma died 4 times this year already, well, that's a scam. And a lot of channels will kind of do that. Oh, I need money for school. Well, no, they really don't. They got plenty of money. They just keep using that argument to make more and more money. I think that's a dishonest, because I guess I look at it this way. That might be a scam because they're not being honest in it. If they say, look, I'm trying to raise $500 so that I can buy my kids school supply this year. And when they keep asking, which I don't mind people asking, they keep e-begging, e-requesting, maybe it's the better word, e-request, and they get to the $500, then you stop. That's what I think. But if you keep doing it and you know that you have the money in your pocket and you've accomplished your goal, then yeah, I think that's a little bit of a scam because they're lying. They're lying about it. Do I hate them for it? Absolutely not. But a lot of times we don't know unless, because I've talked to a lot of these guys that do this. A lot of these guys get stuck into this. It's like, well, I've been talking to this girl online, and she does YouTube live streams. And what I've noticed is we've gotten really good. We have private chats with each other. We talk behind the scenes, and she's kind of like my girlfriend, and she talks about, yeah, she'd like to get married, and and blah blah blah, and ooh, she's so sweet and kind and wonderful, and I'm sending her money every month, but I don't know why she's still asking for money on YouTube. Why is she still collecting money? I'm like, well, because she wants the money. I understand that, hello. She wants the money. And it's okay to want more money than you need without any question. Right. So I always tell them, you do realize that she's playing you. And this is girls from all over the world. She's playing you. She has 5 or 6 of you guys that are sending her money every month. Maybe you're a moderator on her channel. She's giving you special privileges on her channel. And you get to private chat with her, but it's e-prostitution. You're not going to marry the girl. That's not her goal. Her goal is to make as much money. Why would she want to get out of the Philippines when she can make all of that money? Think about it that way. So I don't know. But we're excited about the cruise, by the way, and thinking of cruises. So what do you guys think? Is there anything that bugs you in the social media realm? That's one thing I'm looking for. I am looking around to see what can be improved, what can be, what bugs people. Now, when it comes to bugging people, there's either the good bugging or the bad bugging. And what I mean is people always like to see a car accident, and so people will stop and rubberneck for car accidents. Well, that's a good slash bad. A bad thing happened, but it's good that everybody's looking, so it shows they have interest in that topic. So what do people have an interest in this topic? That's what I'm trying to figure out. And I don't have an answer besides, skin, girl skin. I do think it's amazing. There's one really, really big guy that I guess he's lost a lot of weight. He weighed over 600 pounds at one time. I weighed 460 pounds at my heaviest. I weigh 280 now. So I weighed 460 pounds at my heaviest. And, but I guess he's weighed like 600 pounds. So he started a YouTube channel and started dieting. And when he does his live streams, he gets 200, 300, 400, 500 people watching his live streams. And he doesn't really talk to anybody. What he does is he rides an exercise bike in his house without his shirt on. And so his fat is everywhere. And it just wiggles and jiggles. And I guess that's his thing, is showing off how fat he is, but he's trying to lose weight. That's his stick. And I don't know what people are fascinated about this grotesque body is what the thing is. And you use it on the cruise. I am 72 kilograms. Congratulations to you, Mason. I am happy someday maybe you will be 73 kilograms. I don't know how much that is in pounds, but this guy has a big following, big channel, but it's because he's a train wreck in action. I bet you a lot of people are waiting for him to fall off the bike because he's so big and the bike is so little, right? And he sits in a wheelchair and pedals a device. And he's trying to diet, which you got to applaud him for that, but that's not his stick. His stick is showing this grotesque body, which is working for him. I don't know. It's interesting when people watch. Ken says, I am all caught up now. Woo-hoo. In my country, we don't use pounds. I know, we're trying to get you guys in your country to understand that doing what Americans do is the best thing to do in the world. Everybody in the whole entire world should just be like us. That's what I'm saying. And it's okay. Amazing, I haven't talked to you in a while. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying busy. And I understand that you guys don't use pounds. We use pounds in America. We like pounds in America. So I weigh 280 pounds. Yeah, they use kilograms, kilos, all of that stuff. They do. They use the metric over there. The pound is money in Europe, if I remember right. So, but thank you for the thumbs up as you came in. I don't know. So what do we do, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen? What do we do in life? What are we going to do? What you gonna do when YouTube comes for you? The VA recently went to kilograms scale. Really? I didn't know that. That's interesting. The Veterans Administration went to, wow, that's really interesting. Wow. I wonder why. That is interesting. Is the VA getting any better? That's one big question. I think it's shameful. This is, way off topic, but, I think it's shameful how our VA system is in America. Now, granted, I know this. Let me say this. I think we don't service our veterans as much as we should. But I know America treats their veterans 10,000 times better than a lot of countries. A lot of countries, once you serve, nobody gives a shit. And there are no benefits. Oh, I got you. Makes sense. So the meds now are all done in milligrams and micrograms. I got you. That makes good sense. So somebody who's digging out drugs all the time, the needles, the millimeters, milliliters, and all of that, I get it. That makes good sense. All right, I get it. Makes good sense. But as much as I think, and now look, I'm not a veteran. So I've never been to treated by the Veteran Administration. I've taken vets down there, but I've never been treated by one. I don't know exactly how it is, but I know it could do better, and it should do better. The other thing is, and to be honest, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder why they don't merge Medicare, Veterans Administration, all of these government medical stuff together in one conglomerate. I don't know. But I do think, yeah, but Ken, they don't treat them well. But I've studied this a little bit. In a lot of other countries, vets are treated way worse than you guys are here. I mean, you're thrown away as garbage in other countries. Overall, I am okay with the service and treatment I've gotten. Good. That's good to know. Because I do think you got to recognize the good in the bad scenario. It's only fair if we're going to criticize that when they do something right, that we acknowledge that they did something right. It's only fair. You know, if your doctor, accidentally cuts off your leg, but he saves your life because he gave you a drug that kept your heart beating, I don't know. But we got to go with the good with the bad. Recognize the bad cops. Let's use them. So many bad cops out there, but there are some good cops. And so you should highlight and cheer. And I do think there is psychology. And I think, what is his name, who's in charge now, Pete Hegseth or whoever he appointed to be head of the VA. I think they have a different mentality. I hope they do. They should take on the mentality of this. We should strive to always be better and to do better. Not just because they're vets, but just in general. That's what we should do. We should always look at our job or as a leader. If I was a leader, I would get the culture to change to where our goal is to service people better, to give them a better experience. And you got to role model that and trickle it down to all the different centers, find out what the chief complaints are. But when you see somebody doing great things, then you recognize that. I have a weird thing that I do. Now, I have a lot of weird things I do. Jimmy, don't get too excited about weird things. But I do have this weird thing when I can't sleep. I have a plan, if I ever won like $1 billion, that I would take 10 million out of the billion, small amount, and I would set up a charity. I already got a name for it, everything. Got it all figured out. I would have a nonprofit charity set up. And what my charity's job would be, it has two functions. My charity has two functions. One, to give people a helping hand up, but not out. Meaning, if you're on the pathway of improvement and you need a bump, that's what this organization would do. Karina's in the house. Everybody said, Karina, it's good to see you. Karina, the second mission of my fictional charity would be to look around and see what other groups of people are doing that are successful in the communities that they're in. And to see if you couldn't take a success, if you got one veterans hospital that's very successful, what are they doing? And can we take that, for example, and implement that into another hospital? Can we take what works in this community and bring it to another community and help that community out? That would be one of the other things. The third thing, because I said two, but I really got three, is just something that I would find interesting. I would like to take a church, multiple churches, from different regions of the country, maybe 5 or 10 of them. I would like to go and offer them, a lot, because, I'm not a fan of organized religion all that much. So I would like to, here's my vision. I'd go into these churches and say, look, I want to give your church $100,000. But I want 50,000 of it to be managed and ran by women. The other 50,000 to manage and ran by men. And I want you guys, and both have to be spent on ways to improve your community, not just the church community, but the community. Now, as a byproduct, can you build more followers in your church? Absolutely. But you can't buy a church organ. You can't buy pews. You can't buy stained glass windows. You can't take a vacation to Vegas. You got to use this for those purposes. Because I want to see what the women come up with versus what the men. And if you do this around the country, because I think women are smarter than men when it comes to figuring out what people really need on a lower level. But the other thing I like is most churches don't like women in power. So this is kind of my way of saying, you take the money, you got to give these women power. And I'm going to expect a report. Now, this is probably where the butthead comes in me. They would have to keep a report of how they spent their money and how they think it worked. Did they accomplish their outcome? I want them to document, yes, we did this with your money, with the 50,000 bucks. We did 5,000 here, we did 1,000 here, we did 25,000 here, and here's what happened, here's the results, and here how's it built the community. So, and I would make the men leadership to promise on the Bible that they're going to leave the ladies alone to figure this out. Because a lot of the dominant men would want to come over and say, all right, ladies, I know you're in charge, but you're not. That's not what the Bible says. The Bible says you're subservient and you're a bunch of whatevers. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to give us the money, or you can work it and we'll tell you where it needs to go. Or you need to approve it through us. So I would like to do that as a social experiment. And maybe that's mean and cruel of me, but the long goal of that would be hopefully to find things that have helped people up that worked well. And then you can mass produce that. We can strive for better. And I think the Veteran Administration, it sounds like from the new Veterans Director and Pete and good old Pete, that they are trying to do better, that they want to respect their veterans more than what has happened in the last 20, 25 years. I do think Pete Hegseth has a great passion for veterans, for the military. I think he truly and honestly sees them as real people. A lot of times, after vets get out of service, the military no longer sees them. It's kind of like, oh, all right, well, you're no longer part of us. You're no longer part of the family, part of the brotherhood. You're no longer there because you're not active duty. You're retired now. You're out. We don't care. Go over there. And I think that's so asinine to do that. I think it's asinine. Pat says, hello, Karina. Good to see you. So, Patrick, what is on your schedule today? What's Ken going to do? What's Jimmy going to do? What are you guys doing today? Anybody doing anything fun today? I promised, you guys will like this. I promised Lorelei that come the first week of September, we're going to practice packing everything we need for the cruise ship in our 2 luggages. So, tropical shirts, shoes, her stuff, my backpack, my carry-on. We're going to practice the first week of September how to get all the stuff we want to take on the cruise in our luggage for October. Goodness, I think the overall main problem is that the VA in Washington lays things out yes, I agree. And that's kind of my point about the church groups. In theory, this church could do this here, but it may not work in another community. So you adapt and you try to adapt it to that community. You allow those communities, and that's why I wanted to pick multiple churches from different parts of the country, different demographics. I don't want to go over here to the most popular church in Northwest Arkansas that's worth millions upon millions of dollars to do it. I want to find churches around that struggle, that are small, that actually want to do things better. They don't care. They're like Walmart. Mega churches are like Walmart. They don't care. They're going to get the money one way or the other. So Ken, I agree with you. What they need to do is empower each VA in each state and area that they're in. Those directors ought to have control over their own facilities. And the government should, the VA in Washington, should pass down guidelines. Are you cooking that here in the circle? As for a friend. Pat says, I'm going to be the grocery store, get baby back ribs, french fries, and coleslaw. Nice. I like that. That's a good meal. Ken says he will be at your house shortly. And he's cooking it at home. He's going to cook it at Ken's house. So that way Ken doesn't got to drive to get it. Nice. Very nice, Patrick. But I totally agree with you. I mean, we learned that with OSHA. You know, OSHA, you know, at least in Region 6 I was in, we really, OSHA, the federal side, tried to empower the states to implement programs that were better than what OSHA said. So I think hospitals ought to be able to do that. The VA center should be able to do that. Patrick says, you're welcome anytime. Just bring extra. Here's a quick example. I do not get dental. I am 100% disabled. Okay? Are you on Medicare also? Because if you're on Medicare, you should get dental. Like if you have insurance like Humana or Blue Cross or Blue Shield, Delta Dental usually is a free rider on those. So, and you can have both, can you not? You can go to the VA and you can still get Medicaid. Oh, sorry, did I miss something? I am not 100%. Okay, so that's why you don't get it, because you're not 100%. No, Medicare. Is it Medicare? I think we're on Medicare. So Medicaid is state. Medicaid is for, how do I use this word? Maybe low-income people that never earned enough money to qualify for Social Security. Medicaid are for the indigent. Indigent, is that the word? Medicare is what we all have. Like I have Medicare, and I have Humana as my insurance rider. And it has it. I have Delta Dental, and I didn't have to pay extra for it. I recently went to the dental clinic as a walk-in for an infection tooth, only to be turned away. Well, you should have went to the emergency room for an infection. Said, look, I got an infection. I need some antibiotics. You know, here, cut this open. You know, wow. So maybe Medicare. Try Medicare. You're at the age. You should be on Medicare. Why aren't you on Medicare? You're above the age, retirement age. You know, have you not ever filed for your Social Security benefits? If you're getting Social Security money, then you're on Medicare, right? Or am I wrong about that? You can't opt out of Medicare. I mean, you could choose not to use it, but anybody who's on Social Security gets Medicare. I mean, your spouse can put you on their own personal policies and all of that too, but right, there you go. Go to the ER. Yes. All right. So on your Medicare, do you not have like Blue Cross Blue Shield or Humana or Aetna or one of those insurance companies as a rider? If you don't, I would encourage you to do it. I do. I think I pay out of my Social Security, I don't know what it is. I think I pay like $98 a month for my Humana coverage, which covers everything that Medicare doesn't cover, which is great. It includes dental, includes, I get $50 a month, not a month, a quarter, to spend on things at their store, on Humana's store. I get $50 credit every 3 months. But Humana's done great for me. You know, I got to go to the doctor next week to cover. I don't pay anything. I just go. But you have Delta Dental as it comes along. Same with and do the drug plan. You know, there's the prescription plan. I can't remember, you know, the ABCDs because my brain's squishy. But Medicare should be able to take care of you. You know, and I would pay for the rider. Because depending on your situation, you have free medical period. And then you can add things to it. So I'm surprised, but good. I hope you got it fixed. If not, let me know. I'll come and take care of it for you. I can play it. I played a doctor on TV one time. I can do it, buddy. Whatever you need done medically, I can do. And I only charge a small amount. As long as I can video it and have a good time with it. I mean, you know. Yep, covered by the VA, so you're good there, so you don't need to pay for the writer on meds. Doogie Howser, I remember that show. Neil Patrick Harris. So, yes. It was a good show. It was all right. I mean, it was okay. I don't have any shows that I'm dying to watch these days, but yeah, we go to the doctor next week for my 6 months blood work. Every 6 months, I have to have blood work done because of my kidney failure, and they check my heart. There's something they check my heart to see if my heart is under duress. There's an enzyme or something that my body produces, your body produces, that tells them your heart, where your heart is, kind of. I can't remember. And then, so we do the blood work for all of that. And then, what else do we do for the? Yeah, that's what we do. We do a lot of blood work to make, and it's fine, and it's all covered. It's all covered, but I do it every 6 months, and we track it to see the numbers. And my numbers bounce around. There's times that my kidney function is bad, and sometimes it's, I don't say not bad, but not as bad, because I'm always past the threshold. So like if your kidney is supposed to function between 1 to 10, mine always functions at like 13 or 14. That's where it is. That's my new normal because of the damage. Now, sometimes it bounces up into the 20s, which is bad. If it gets up in the 50s, I'm going to die. Reference. So we check that. The other thing I have a problem with, I have a vampire disease, and I know you guys laugh, but I really do. I have a disease where I'm photosensitive to light, meaning, and I love sunlight, and I love the outdoors, and I risk it, and I take it. I don't care. I'm going to go outside. But my blood does not process vitamin D correctly, and my body doesn't store iron. I have a gigantic iron deficiency, and my body doesn't process vitamin D. So I take mass quantities of vitamin D, but my body doesn't process it very much. If I go outside, if I'm out in the sun too much, I will blister like a vampire does on the movies. You know how they bubble up and blisters everywhere? That happens to me. My blood, that's partly what drove me into a coma those years ago, was my blood was so contaminated because of the lack of processing the vitamin D, the deficiency in iron, the kidney function failure. I got sepsis, I got heart failure anyway, and I slipped into the coma. Boom. So we check all of those all the time. But what I was going to tell you, what's interesting was, before, and you can see it on some of the videos and stuff, before I had blisters all over me. I mean, I just did. I couldn't stop them because my blood was so contaminated. It was so poisoned that there's nothing we could do. The only thing they could do, one person said, was you can do a blood transfusion, clean your blood. That'd give you about 10 years before it starts happening again. It'd take about 10 years for all of these things to contaminate your blood, to make your blood no good anymore. And I'm at year like 5, so I'm starting to get a few blisters here and there. But when I was in the coma, they had to do multiple blood transfusions. And when they did it, I got new blood. So coming out of the coma, I no longer would burst into bubbles being outside. I wouldn't, blisters. I wouldn't have those, I wasn't having that. It's just now starting to come back. which could lead to, the combination of the poisonous blood, the combination of the kidney failure, the combination of this and this and this is all going to come back together eventually. And I probably got another 5 years, maybe 10 if I'm lucky. So, and then when it all comes together, all hell breaks out. So I do have this weird thing, but I love the sun and I'm not going to stop going in it. I want to be outside and I'll just risk it. Because as I said earlier, risk versus reward. I may only have 10 years to live, but I want to enjoy those 10 years. I don't want to be locked in a house and live 20 years. That's no fun. I would rather live 10 years and have a good life. So that's what we do. We do that. And then we have heart stuff every 6 months. Yeah, 6 months also? I don't know. I got a heart appointment in September. I know that. That's all I know. Maybe it's a year. Every year I go see the heart specialist. But this year, remember, I had the new pacemaker put in, and it's working okay, I guess. But I don't feel normal. I feel like I'm 10% to 20% less than I was with the previous pacemaker. But they say the pacemaker is working at the exact same levels. Everything's the exact same as it was with the other pacemaker. But I don't feel the same. I don't know if it's something else, but I don't know. But yeah, next week, go take all these tests, look at my iron level, my vitamin D issue, these weird other names that indicate kidney function, heart failure. Got to do all that. And I have a really good doctor. He doesn't have to. I tell him he doesn't have to. But every morning when he gets the test back the next day, he calls me personally and tells me about them. And I've told him, you don't got to do that. It'll come in the mail. Come in the email. I'll get it. But he does that. So that's, my big issue. Those are besides having bad knees, bad ankles, bad back, bad neck, I need to go to and have my neck surgery. Somebody said I'm gonna go have my neck cut off so I can be like No Neck Ed. Or Big Ed. Was that what his name called from 90 Days Fiance? He lives in the next town over. He lives in Bentonville, Arkansas. He moved from California to Bentonville, Arkansas. But I can have my neck cut off and become Big No Neck Dave. No Neck Pack and neck, something like that. So we all have issues. We just got to keep addressing them. As I say, I don't really chase that mythical dragon anymore. I know there's nothing they can do to improve my heart. It is what it is. If the pacemaker wasn't in, I would be dead. I know that. It is what it is. The kidneys shut down, they shut down. There's no cure. The kidneys are never going to get better. The lungs are not going to get better from the sarcoidosis. The masses that are plaguing my lungs are never going away. They're hard, they're solid, they are rooted into the lung tissue. They're not going anywhere. Good thing is they're not growing. They've stopped growing and stopped making new ones. So that's a good thing. And it hasn't spread to my heart or my eyes yet, the sarcoidosis. So we look at that also every year. I go to a pulmonologist specialist, and they do a bunch of tests, x-rays, and sometimes bigger tests, and just to make sure there's no growth, it's not active again. Because if it gets active again, it's just going to take up more and more of my lungs. So we look at all of that, but I know I can't fix the lungs. Nothing I can do. Resign to that. Heart failure, resign to it. Kidney failure, resign to it. There's no magical dragon that I can do. When I had the ankle surgery, he screwed it up. I got nerve damage. Nothing I can do about it. They can't fix it. I had knee replacement. It's good, but it still kind of sucks. Nothing I can do about it. They can't make the knee any better. They can give you a new knee, but, and that may make it somewhat better, but they can't fix that. They can't regenerate your knee. We're not Star Trek, where they can take that little thingy out and heal you and put you back the way you were. It's just not the way it is. And so I encourage people to understand that you can spend the rest of your life chasing that mythical dragon, or you can live your life. One of the two. And doctors will, and I'm telling you, I think we talked about the insurance company being corrupt. The medical system is very corrupt. It's a fraud. It's all ran by how much money can we generate, meaning how many appointments can we get this guy to go to. Even my doctors admitted, I talked to him personally, and he's a good guy, and he's a little bit older than me. He was in the military. He was a pilot, and now he's a doctor. Been a doctor forever. But he's admitted his job is to get us to have more appointments. If we ache about something, or maybe my ankle is the trouble, well, let's get you set up for physical therapy. Well, there you go. They just make a shitload of money off of the insurance company, and I don't go, but. And in my humble opinion, the pharmacies are behind it. They are. Big pharmaceutical, here's what I think is funny. A lot of people got all bent out of shape about opiates, and they should have. They should have. Opiates were a nightmare for us. I was on opiates for years, and when I came out of the coma, I've never gone back on them. I wouldn't mind them now because I hurt so much, but for a couple of years, I had no pain coming out of the coma. But so they made a gigantic deal about opiates. What they need to do is make a gigantic deal about all this other shit they give us. Because what they're trying to do is to keep us sick. I'm stuck. I'll tell you honestly, I'm in the rut where I take 8 or 9 pills a day for different things. Gabapentin, Nabutin, heart medicine, everything. Take it all the time. I do. I'm stuck in that rut. But I've done a little bit of Googling, just a little bit, about what does other countries do. Other countries don't give out drugs the way we do. I mean, here in America, they push drugs on the doctors to prescribe them like crazy. They do. Other countries don't do this. It's the corrupt business model in America. And America's a great place, and it has a great business model. Because you know why it's great? Because you can be greedy and scam us and push us and manipulate us, like the food industry does. The drug companies do it, and they're all making billions of dollars off of us. If we got to the point where we didn't need to take gabapentin for nerve pain anymore, what would happen to whoever makes it? They would lose billions of dollars a year. So of course they're going to convince us that we have to take it. And once we start taking it, we can't really get off of it. It's not an opiate, but if we go off of it, we have kind of a chemical detox from whatever drugs you're taking. Try this sometimes. I don't care what drug it is. You're going to feel a negative effect if you go off of any drug for a while until your body gets used to not having that chemical in your system. And then you'll start feeling better, I believe. But it's hard to get over that hump of not going on the drugs. It just is. But every doctor, they make money by prescribing. They make money by sending us for x-rays. They make money by sending us to physical therapy. Now, we get to choose whether we want to go do those things, but that's how we make money. And then there's some of us who's kind of stuck in another rut, is in my situation, I get a separate check from my college, and I have to medically prove I'm disabled every year. They send me a form. I have the doctor fill it out and send it in, and we continue for another year. But I got to keep a good relationship with that doctor so he will do that. So if that doctor wants to do a test, I got to let him do the test because he's making money and I need him to sign this form so I get money. So I'm in a vicious cycle in that situation, which is interesting. And I don't want to give that money up, of course. So I got to keep my heart doctor happy. I got to get him to sign off on it. And it's usually in November when I have to do that. And so this year, since I got an appointment in mid-September, I'm going to call them and tell them, say, hey, can you just give me that form early? So I only got to make one trip down to the heart doctor. Maybe you could do that. I could take it down with me, and then he can send it to you fax-wise. I'm going to try to get it done early this year because I'm going there. Otherwise, I usually wait and have to drive down, put it in an envelope, drive all the way down there and hand deliver it to the front desk with his name on it and everything. So, got to do that. But pharmacies are bad. I agree. All right, my friends, it's a tiny bit after 12. It's time for me to jump off of here. I don't know what I don't know what I'm going to do. I will do a live stream later today. It'll probably be at 7. I don't know, but I may do an earlier one for some people. So you just never know. But I am going to do one around 7-ish. So I'll be there as normal. Other than that, I appreciate everybody. Everybody take care. Enjoy your lunch. have a good day, and we'll see you guys later today. You just never know. You never know. I may even come in like this. I may give it a little more skin. I may give it a little more skin.